Make sure you like, share and subscribe to Live for Love TV.
Like, share, subscribe, Live for Love TV. Awesome!
Like, share, Live for Love TV. Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today's the 7th day of the 10th month of the 22nd year inside the 21st century. Everyone's doing well out there. Now, there's a lot of noise on the internet right now about boxing. First, it started off with the heavyweight fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. That was, and then it wasn't. And now it's moved from a welterweight fighter to, I think, a middleweight fighter, which is Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks Jr., which was, and now it isn't. Now, what's interesting about the fight, the reason why I'm weighing in on it, because I wanted to say some words that I hadn't actually heard on the internet anyone say. First and foremost, what I'd like to say about this fight is these two guys hold no titles. So I don't know how exactly they're trying to, talk about it in the same breath as their fathers, when their fathers were holding titles and were fighting for world titles of some degree, some way. It was world titles they were fighting for. These two guys have got nothing. They're just names. So I know a fight's a fight, and if you want to see a fight, two guys, two sons fighting, the legends and all this type of stuff, yeah, good luck. But they really hold no titles, so they really are, to me, at the moment, insignificant fighters. But people are talking about Mr. Conor Benn testing positive for a particular type of drug, which may be a masking agent, may be a female fertility drug, maybe a testosterone masker. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, they claimed he's failed the A test for. People are wondering why there is what happened with the B test. So I thought I'd just clear that one up first. The B test is the same as the A test. Basically, you urinate into a bottle, they split it into 2 vials, so that if anything happens to one vial, you can still have another vial. So you basically have 2 different vials. So the A test apparently has tested positive. Now people are wondering why are we not getting the B test? But the B test has to be requested by the person who's been accused of taking the drug or their team. So if we haven't got the B test, it's because Conor Benn doesn't want it and his people don't want it. They're not interested in it. That's the reason. There's no other reason. Chris Eubanks Jr. has no reason to request the B test. It's not his jurisdiction. He's not being accused of anything. You can't request it. I can't request it. Only the person who's been accused of the failed test and his team can request it. So that's why we haven't got it. So if it's 2 weeks ago, as they're now saying, that this original test was done, or not was done, but that was actually found out to be thing, and it hasn't been requested yet, then I think you don't need to read between the lines. It's quite obvious why he's not requesting that the second test, and why he hasn't requested it up to now, because he well knows it's going to test positive. He well knows this. He may have reasons for why it does, but he well knows it's going to test positive. But the problem is with this fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubanks Jr., as I said, was it's been built up, and this is what the great promoters can do. They build it up. If it's the Battle of Britain, it's something great. 2 guys who have no title, nothing on the line, and they're supposedly fighting for the pride of their family names. But that was already fought for. One of their fathers won, and the other one was a draw. Well, how can you fight for the pride of your father's name when that was already fought for? It wasn't like they didn't fight for it. They fought for it, and it was settled. Now these 2 guys are trying to make money, and they've taken us along for them with a ride about Battle of Britain, and this is an avenge and all this kind. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's foolishness. These guys need to first go and get a title, prove that they are world title contenders, not just the son of this man or the son of that man, but they've got world title contenders, and then come and put that on the line so we can all say yes. At least with the Anthony Joshua and the Tyson Fury, at least one of them had the title. If they had fought a couple of, whenever they were supposed to fight, if that had got on, one of them would have at least walked in the thing with a title. There was a time when both had a title, but at least one would have. But none of these 2 young guys have got titles. They talk as if they're world champions. They talk as if they're title holders. They got no world titles, none of them. So really, the fight is just like, maybe they got names, but might as well be 2 guys outside of a pub. You haven't proved yourself at the highest level. So whoever won that fight, it was a money fight, and I understand that. And Chris Eubanks Jr. really played it up well. He said, if I lose, I'm going to retire. To me, he's retired already. He's a finished fighter. There's nothing. He's stepped up a couple of times to the highest level, and he's flopped. It's as simple as that. He's flopped at that level, and nobody wants to see him at that level anymore. Nobody wants to see him. That's why the promoters are not. You don't hear his name. You know, he talks about. He calls out people. He calls out these people. Say they're running for him. He runs for a great trainer who used to be a great fighter, but no one's talking about him at that level. Nobody. Only he's, you know, delusional enough to see himself at that level. So that in itself is, you know, my view on it. No disrespect to him. He may see it as a disrespect, or maybe his people may see it as disrespect. But I'm taking the facts. The man has no title. Conor Benn has no title. And if they are taking, if one of them is taking stuff, which it looks like he may be, because this is what he's been accused of. And the funny thing is, this Vada, everybody accepts that Vada is a voluntary people. You know, people, I think it happened with Mayweather Jr. with the Vada they were talking about. They want Vada because Vada is specific to boxing, not like the others. It's specific to boxing. It knows what to look for in boxers. So if that's the test you fail, it's a mighty test that you fail. The fact that the other bodies don't want to recognize it, all these governing bodies don't want to recognize it, that should tell you why they don't want to recognize Vada. Because they're dirty. They're crooks. They can be got round, you know. You can put money in their hands and get fights on. That's why they didn't want to recognize Vada. But Vada is actually doing the test the right way. And whether they accept it or not, the world knows now that one of these two fighters have been found to have taken something that should not be in his blood. Now he's got his dad coming out and saying he's a clean fighter, he's a clean fighter. You know, my son's, come on, I mean, this is, you know, this is child's, this is like playground stuff, you know. It's like me coming out and saying my son, for instance, is fighting. I'm saying, oh, my son is clean, he does it the right way, and all. That's foolishness. I ain't got a clue what I only know what I put in my mouth. I wouldn't know what my son was putting in my mouth. If he got caught with something in his bloodstream, I'd keep myself quiet. I wouldn't be backing him because I believe my word would mean something, and I'd have to know. How could I know? Even if I went to him and he said, no, Dad, I didn't take anything, then we'd have to prove it. We'd have to prove it. Not just the fact that you don't want it. Nobody's going to say they take anything. At the time they get caught, everyone's innocent. But as Dwayne Chambers' interview very recently said, we all know what we're taking, and we know why we're taking it. It's just, you know, the lure of the money, the lure of the... Maybe just this is what got Conor Benn to be knocking out these people recently so easily. He went into the ring in the last few fights and he really demolished the people. I saw him doing some deadlifts, bit similar to what Ben Johnson was doing when Ben Johnson was on the juice. I saw him doing some deadlifts in the gym, and the man's he's a little guy. And, you know, when you see the deadlift and the amount of weight he's lifting, you have to be a little bit suspicious. You have to be a little bit suspicious. Without jealousy, you just have to look and say, it's just like when Ben used to be doing those deadlifts, you used to look and think to yourself, come on, where does these people get the power to be deadlifting like this? It's almost ridiculous. But anyway, just a little bit of back and forth with this boxing and what I've been seeing. And, you know, I'm not really for either of the guys because, as I said, I like boxing. I like the art of boxing. And I like not just a fight, because I can watch a fight anywhere. Anywhere you can see a fight. You just go on the road and you can see a fight. But I like to see good fights. I like to see good boxing, good fighting, good classy boxing. Guys who are good, like the Spencers and the Crawfords and the Canelos. And these guys who can really mix it at world level. The guys that can't mix it at world level, you know, you watch them as they're coming up. But if they step up and can't make it, then bye. See you later. Don't call us, we'll call you. Take care. Live for Love TV.
People, one step more, one step more, one step more, one step more until you reach your goals. One step more. This is Live for Love.